Okay. So good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Policy and Governance Committee. At this point, I will take the roll. Councilman Kyle Abercrombie.
Present.
Yes. Councilman Avery Gaddis.
Here.
Councilwoman Tina Beeman.
Present.
Thank you. And Ed Shirley, committee chair. We also have with us Executive Director Brandon McGee, our legal advisor Mari Collazo Cruz, our legislative liaison Christina Diamond, and let's see, and Hillary May. All right. Have we had a chance to review the minutes of the March 2025 meeting? If so, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? All right. With that, I will turn the meeting over to Executive Director McGee, who has some critical issues to discuss with regard to policy and governance going forward. So, Director McGee.
Thank you, committee, and thank you to Chair Shirley. Good morning again, committee members and public. As part of our ongoing commitment to transparency, accountability, and alignment with the council's mission, I am or will provide you all with some key updates alongside our legal director, Mari Collazo Cruz, for your consideration. These updates may not only reflect immediate operational needs, but also interest or intersect directly with the Policy and Governance Committee's core responsibilities, ensuring that our policies and bylaws and practice evolve to best serve social equity entrepreneurs in the communities we represent. I will just give you high-level overview of the key categories that we'll discuss today, and then I'll yield the floor to Council Collazo Cruz. We're going to talk a little bit regarding our backers and change in ownership, this idea of the possibility of voting via email on EJVs, and lastly, workforce development criteria for DIA cultivators. Usually I would have Mari and team drive in terms of the PowerPoint, but I'll drive the PowerPoint as you are discussing some of the key points here. So I'll turn the floor over to Mari. Let me pull up.
Thank you.
Presentation here. Our system has been a little slow over at the state office building. So
And I'll start while it loads.
Yeah, thank you.
Just a general conversation on the issue with backers and change in ownership. The current statutory framework does not allow for backers to be added to a license or application from its lottery phase until final licensure. And the challenge we're seeing is if you have a business relationship that changes prior to final licensure, whether they're still in the applicant phase prior to provisional or in provisional, and let's say a backer wishes to withdraw or an MSO decides to leave the state, whatever the case may be, the SEI might find him or herself in a situation without the financial backing, and they are not able to enter into a new relationship with an investor or a new backer until they are in final licensure. It is often the case that they need that backer to get to final licensure for construction or different costs related to getting through that final license phase. So we have been in conversations with different stakeholders regarding possible amendment to the statute, and people seem amenable to that. Obviously, our SEIs are in favor, the ones that we've spoken to so far. So we're bringing this up because it would impact current policy for the Social Equity Council. And it's a policy that's currently in its phase to be to go through the regulations process. So by statute, we're required to have the regulation in place. We would have to revisit if and when it's approved and if the amendment goes through to make those policy changes. Any questions on that or comments?
I have a question. What was the purpose of the statute to begin with? What were we trying to prevent, or to prevent by not allowing that? Do you recall?
I do not. I wasn't here back then, and I've tried to figure it out with some DCP folks, and we don't have really a concrete answer on that. I think it was intended to just make for a smoother process and not to have backers, engaging in predatory manners with the SEIs. But again,
Okay.
that's
That
my
makes sense.
speculation, my assumption. Yeah.
All right. I see, is that Councilman Gaddis' hand?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, oftentimes when legislation is written, legislators and the lobbyists and interest groups don't understand the unintended consequences. And sometimes you find yourself, when policy is implemented, that it's inadequate or needs to be modified. And I suspect this is a situation where there's a piece of policy, we understand there's a pain point, and we're looking to fix it.
God, thank
I
you.
agree.
Yeah, makes sense. Councilman Beeman?
I imagine that there would be an opportunity post change for the application to be evaluated now in light of the additional backer. Is that correct?
Yes, so we do require change in ownership to be notified. If it involves a social equity individual, we review it to make sure it complies with ownership and control.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions with regard to this issue? If not, what's the recommendation from the staff with regard to how what this committee should consider, or how we should move?
Well, I mean, I assume based on the conversation, just how the discussion that we're in agreement with SEC pursuing this amendment and moving forward with a policy change.
Mr. Chairman, I think staff is just looking to inform us about their intentions and to make sure they have alignment. I don't think we need a vote on it today or any other action from us.
Today, okay, thank you. Are we at some point, are we to bring this before we'll bring it before the full council? Or will you bring it before?
I would definitely include it in my updates at our regular council meeting, but would defer to the committee to acknowledge that this is a friendly change to the policy to better support of social equity entrepreneurs. So I would again defer to this committee to bring that up as an update on behalf of your report.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for that, Director McGee. So if there's no vote for us to make at this point? Nothing?
Nope.
Okay.
Just normalizing a healthy conversation on policy changes within our committee.
Got it. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Next issue.
And I'll just clarify, thank you, Mr. Chairman. None of the items that we're discussing are up for vote. Again, it's conversation and informing the council, the committee on different issues that the SEC staff is currently maneuvering through. The next item is
And
EJV
Marty,
approval.
just one other thing. I think it's also important to mention here, a lot of the information that informs these discussions come from our virtual roundtables with our social equity entrepreneurs. So usually in this chain of communication, we start with the source, if you would, those being impacted, and we then sort of scale it up to the appropriate committees, and your committee is of cognizance on this particular issue. Just wanted to say that, Mike.
Thank you. The
Duly
next
noted.
item
Yep. Go ahead. I'm
is the
sorry.
EJV approvals. It is often the case, as you know, we work with a third party to review the documentation related to ownership and control. And more recently, we've seen that a lot of these recommendations are coming in just days prior to the council, full body council meeting. And it's creates a situation where someone is ready for approval, but they have to wait another month or a little bit over a month for their application to be fully approved and be able to initiate operations or proceed to the next step in the process to obtain final licensure. So we've had discussions around possibly implementing a vote by email or just the flexibility to be able to add items while we're in the meeting, conducting the public meeting. It's just something we're exploring. I'd say it's not fully cooked yet, what the idea, how it would play out, but it's something we're considering. Councilman Gaddis has a question.
Councilman Gaddis?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the indulgence. I really like that idea. It makes sense, but going a step further, why couldn't we, because it seems to be formulaic. If you check a box, you get approved, and then we vote for it. And it seems to be very linear. Why couldn't we have a mechanism where if they check all the boxes and we're going to approve it anyway, why can't it be done at the staff level? Why does a situation like that even have to come before the council?
The voting to approve, is that the question?
Yes, why can't we have a mechanism where as long as they check all the boxes and we're going to vote to approve them anyway, why could we just remove the council and have it done at the staff level if they check all the boxes, since it seems to be linear?
That's a great question. I don't know why historically we've done it. I honestly, and I should know this, but I don't, in full transparency, whether the statute requires the council to vote on EJVs or not. But it's worth exploring whether an amendment, if it is a requirement, right? But I do think it makes sense. A lot of the times it is very formulaic, right? I think income is pretty self-explanatory. Residents, whether they reside in a DIA, is also pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm just looking back historically, there have been very few instances that I can remember that we questioned the third party decision, looking at the facts. And as Councilman Gaddis, looking at the check boxes and how they arrived at that at their conclusion. So we could do that. I would imagine that would that be a change in the statute that we'd have to vote on a change to say that that the approval is no longer required to go up to the council level, that it can be done at the staff level.
Yeah, I think it's something I can look into and to see what the alternatives are and report back to you. I do want to just clarify for purposes of understanding the process and those who may view this later. It's the process is not just a straight recommendation from the third party vendor and we go with that, right? They do provide documentation to
Mhm.
support their approval, recommended approval or denial. And then I do review those and have conversations with them to make sure um, if they're recommending a denial, that it's justified. And we do work with the applicants, sending them notices of review to say, hey, you did not meet the ownership and control criteria because you failed here and there. And we do give them an opportunity to remedy those. So I just don't want to give the impression that the party vendor says approve or deny, and we just go with that recommendation. We do look into what the recommendation is and the basis of that recommendation.
Thank you for that. And I think all the more reason for us to consider leaving that at the staff level, and then simply getting a report of who was approved and who wasn't, but without having to vote on it. And if that will smooth out the process or expedite the approvals, then I think we should certainly consider it, unless there are any other, or bring it before the council to see if there are no objections from members of this committee.
Agreed, and I'll definitely report back once I look into that.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And the final point, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, did you want to?
No, go ahead.
The final point on the slides is during the last legislative session, we had a change where DIA cultivators, what we traditionally refer to as DIA cultivators, are allowed to go outside of a DIA for their cultivation facility. And the statute implemented a series of requirements for a DIA cultivator to be allowed to do this. And they are required to submit a verification of compliance to the SEC, basically stating how they're going to comply with the different requirements regarding workforce. So there's like incremental percentages that they have to go through. 25% at the beginning of the operation has to be from a DIA, then 50, then 75% for anyone who's not in the manufacturing activity. And then there's other requirements for the manufacturing activity. Basically, I don't want to overcomplicate it, but they have to submit documentation to us. The statute just establishes that it has to be a verification of compliance based on evidence deemed sufficient by the council. And what we would like to propose is, implementing an actual policy that, whether it's a rubric through a workforce development plan or something similar, to avoid issues we've had in the past regarding subjectivity or ambiguity, or even just the perception that we're favoring one over the other. And again, it's nothing to vote on. It's something that the staff is exploring and intends to develop and draft for your feedback and review before we officially present it.
All right, thank you. Councilman Gaddis.
I got to tell you, anytime we could extract subjectivity out of the process, I love it.
So, and in this case, the obligation that the social equity applicant has to that particular DIA would remain in place, even though they're growing it outside the DIA? Is that,
Can
am
you
I
repeat your
correct in
question?
that
I
assumption?
apologize.
So
What was the question again?
I'm sorry, I was asking the obligation that they would have to the DIA, workforce development or so forth and so that would still be in place, even though they have they're growing in some other area.
Yeah, so the statute implements certain requirements depending on where they're going going to be located. So for if they're cultivating outside of the DIA, at least 50% of their workforce has to be from the DIA. There was some flexibility implemented. I do believe that it still meets the intent of RARACA and serving disproportionately impacted areas and contributing by way of a social equity plan and a workforce development plan.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, and we appreciate the update and the fact that we have these issues to consider. And we look forward to the resolutions and the that you bring before us once they're fully fully developed. Are they, Director
Yes,
McGee?
yes. Yep, we have a few more just updates here that I want to share with folks. I'm sure you're probably like Brandon, we've heard a lot about this. We get it, we got it. But for the sake of the platform we do have here and the videos that will live on YouTube, we want the world to know we're kicking off our 2025 Market Outlook Working Group. We're super excited. We've got a lot to share. The invitation is open to all of our stakeholders, including government officials, community, business, to hear directly from myself, our partners, as we get into the thick of each of our 3 working groups: marketplace, municipal relations, and youth champions. So I encourage this committee to participate. Even if you can only, come to the kickoff meeting. We have invited the governor and all of our elected officials to participate on both sides of the aisle, including the business community and our community writ large. So we're super excited. The goal, it's clearly outlined here, but chief among all of our goals is to strengthen and deepen our relationships with various stakeholders that inform our programs and policies. So we're super excited about it. As you can see, the date is next Wednesday, September 24th, 10 a.m. at the Legislative Office Building there in Hartford. Lastly, I think we're good here. Those are all dates that you all are familiar with, and I will turn it back over to you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Executive Director. Appreciate that. Are there any issues to be discussed for the good of the order?
Mr. Chairman, move to adjourn.
I was just about to. All right.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second. Thank you. Then the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
You
you.
all have a great rest of your day.
Thank
great day.
you. Take care.